This video is brought to you by the EA Creator Network. As a member of the network, I'm given the game codes for free, and as such, I'm required to disclose this within my content. However, opinions remain my own. Hello again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video in The Sims 4. Hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far, and thank you so much for joining me here today. We are once again building something a little bit different. I feel like I'm on a bit of a unique building kick at the moment. I'm not really creating family houses, family apartments, my typical kind of builds. But today we are building kind of like a zombie apocalypse camper van sort of situation. And I actually chose this lot in Moonwood Mill. I'm pretty sure Moonwood Mill. Is it Moonwood Mill? Yes, the world that came with the werewolves pack. And yeah, we're building like a zombie apocalypse camper van, and I'm not even joking you when I say this idea came to me in a dream, and I woke up and I was like, oh, that's kind of brilliant. Like, why have I never thought about this before? So yeah, this is, so many people have created some stunning camper vans, like out in the beach in Sulani, and just like these really pretty camper vans. And I would love to create something like that one day, but I figured, let's do something a little bit different and let's just turn it into like an apocalypse camper van, you know? So it's run down and it's got marks all over it. And essentially the idea behind this is that the sim or sims that live here are in the middle of an apocalypse, you know? Maybe you have a storyline for this within your own gameplay and you will find some sort of use for this. Nevertheless, I do really like this build. I think it turned out really nice, and I'm just super excited to share it with you. So I hope you're all doing really well as well. I don't know why I'm feeling a little bit out of touch with YouTube at the moment. I'm uploading regularly, I'm talking with you all, but for some reason I'm just feeling a little bit disconnected from it. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, I hope you're all doing very well. Anyway, we are currently working on the exterior of the build here now. Disclaimer, I actually installed the tool mod to enable me to make the van at the front larger. Now, I cut out me attempting to use the tool mod because I've never used it in my life and it was a little bit embarrassing, I'm going to be honest. So I might keep it in my game and have a fiddle around with it off camera and familiarize myself with it a little bit more before I sort of showcase me actually using it within a build, whether that be in real time or a speed build like this. But I'm sorry I cut that out. It was pointless footage that I didn't feel that you would really enjoy watching, so I decided to cut it out entirely. I hope that's all right, but that is the reason that the front of the van is so big, and the reason that I did that is because I didn't want this to be a super tiny build, although I suppose technically it would be classed as a tiny build because I don't know how many squares it is. Squares? Whatever. I don't know how many tiles, that's it. I don't know how many tiles it is officially, but I'm almost positive this will be classed as a tiny build. But yeah, I didn't want it to feel cramped. And then when we move on to the interior, I'm going to speak a little bit more about my thought process behind that. But it's essentially, I don't really know. I was going through a lot of different storylines in my head while I was creating this, and I was thinking perhaps that during the apocalypse, you know, when it all started to go down, maybe they found this abandoned camper van and it's been overrun by plants because it's been here for so long, and so they built up the barbed wire fencing around just to keep things a little bit safer. They've obviously got a bonfire outside. There's various different kinds of seatings. I use a lot of debug items from the werewolves pack. I spoke about this when the werewolves pack actually came out. I think the debug in the werewolves pack was just like so on point. It was fantastic. The trees, the plants, the wood, just all of everything pretty much. But I don't know where I was going with that. Where on earth was I going on that tangent? I have no idea. Oh yes, sorry. I'll get there. So I was thinking perhaps that they kind of stumbled upon this camper van. I don't necessarily think that they owned this before the apocalypse. I think they stumbled upon it on their travels and they thought, we can actually make this a safe home so that we can hide out and we can barricade ourselves in here. There's various pieces of rundown furniture inside. There's a broken down car out here, and I was trying to tell us a bit of a story whilst I was sort of putting this together, but I didn't want it to be, I'm about to say something and I'm about to correct myself after I've said it, but I didn't want it to be super cluttered or sort of overwhelming for you as a player to sort of download. But I did kind of go nuts on the clutter, specifically on the outside, so I will correct myself there. But there's planters so that they can perhaps grow some fruits and vegetables, and there's a tent outside as well, so if you do have more than 1 or 2 Sims, the inside will fit 2 Sims. In fact, technically 3, because there is a sleeping bag on the floor. So in theory, I think you could possibly have around 6 Sims, up to 6 Sims living in here, assuming that you can put more than 1 Sim in a tent, which I believe you can. I think you can put up to 2 Sims in a tent. So yeah, I suppose technically you could have 6 Sims living here if you really wanted to. So yeah, it came out pretty good. I really like this. It's just something a little bit different. I promise I'll get back onto building my kind of family houses and apartments and things like that. I feel like for the last few builds, so I created a summer caravan in, I can't remember the name of the world. One of the vacation was Granite Falls, there we are. So I created that, and then the week after I created like an arcade slash bar slash restaurant slash bowling alley. And then now I'm creating this zombie apocalypse camper van. So I'm clearly on some sort of strange, weird, let's do these weird and wonderful kind of unique builds, and it's kind of nice actually. It's super refreshing, but I am missing my family houses, I must admit. I'm with the picket fences and the nice landscaping and all the beautiful interiors. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this, so I really hope that you actually have a use for this build. I'm hoping that that you do anyway. But yeah, I was kind of messing around with some of the lighting there and trying to work out, you know, how I would be taking my screenshots, because I don't know if anybody else does this, but do they figure out like what sort of lighting would work best and how like the screenshots are gonna look and stuff? So you can see here, I actually changed the weather to a heat wave and then put it to the afternoon, and it just looked so much better. And I was kicking myself because I was like, why was I not building in this lighting? But it's not a big deal. I just thought I'd mention it. Anyway, we have moved on to the inside of the camper van now. So my kind of idea behind this is that they've perhaps been picking up various items along the way. So maybe the bed was already in here and things like that, but we had some stains on the walls and on the floor. The rugs that we've used are a little bit run down and ragged, and I'm telling you now, the werewolves pack came in so handy for this build. I was just so appreciative of that pack. The sofa is from werewolves as well, so it's kind of stuff that they've probably found along the way, and they've brought it back to the camper van, and they're just trying to make the best of a really terrible situation. You know, I often think how I would cope in an apocalypse, and I'm not convinced I'd cope very well. I think you do what you have to do, I suppose, in situations like that, but I don't think I'd be the best, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, the Sims that live here, they're just trying to make the best of the situation, and they're just trying to make this camper van somewhat homey and somewhere that they can hide out and they feel safe and secure, and this is where they are. So yeah, I use a lot of items here from various packs just to kind of sort of show that that the Sims that live here do go out. They travel quite a bit within the worlds. You know, they're not necessarily, of course they're afraid. I think anybody would be afraid in an apocalypse, but they're not afraid to leave the camp to go out and find supplies and things like that, and they pick items up along the way, as I was saying, and they just sort of add them to the camper van. But yeah, anyway, so the entire space is open floor plan. I didn't want to necessarily corner off the bedroom or anything. The only thing that is separate is the bathroom, as you can see. And I struggled so badly with trying to make the bathroom look grimy and gross. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get onto that room. But yeah, then I figured out, you know, we need a kitchen in here as well, some sort of kitchen. But I give them a fridge and a cooker. Now, how realistic that is, I'm not entirely sure. So I don't know whether I was going for realism here. You know, zombie apocalypse, it's not, I mean, I don't know if it could happen now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, so maybe realism wasn't necessarily what I was going for here, but I just wanted your Sims to be able to kind of, you know, look after themselves in here, essentially. I think looking back, I would perhaps remove the cooker from inside here and put a barbecue outside. I think that would probably make more sense than what I decided to do here. But, you know, it's The Sims. It's a zombie apocalypse that I'm going for here. I just went with it. If it's something that you're not a fan of, then please feel free to make any changes that you would like. But yeah, this is when I start pulling out the kind of grimy decorative wall pieces. I used various ones from various packs. So we've got vampires, werewolves, we've got For Rent coming in here. So you can see all the staining up at the top. That's actually from the For Rent pack. And I often forget that we have these because I don't necessarily gravitate towards doing like grimy builds, but every now and again I'll be like, oh yes, this is coming in so handy for this build, and this was one of those times. So yeah, I'm just trying to make the walls look super mucky, and I was thinking that maybe those sort of like brownish stains on the wall are maybe dried blood stains. I know it's a little bit morbid, but zombie apocalypse and everything. There's like boxes of clothes and everything's a little bit grimy, a little bit moldy. The TV again is probably something that they've picked up from somewhere. There's a shelving unit round back. I love the bonfire as well. That's from Werewolves out the front, and it's kind of like I always say mishmash of items like on the bonfire. So they've perhaps picked them up along the way and thought, we can burn these, you know, just to keep warm on an evening, but keep the flame low because we don't want, you know, the zombies to see the flames and the smoke, etc. But yeah, or other people, because if anyone has watched a zombie apocalypse program, we've actually learned that I think the more of the threat is the actual people that are still alive. But yeah, they don't want to make their presence known. Is what I was trying to go with that. And then I'll just switch out the bedside lamp, if you want to even call it that. This is when I throw down a sleeping bag, thinking that there's definitely more than 1 or 2 Sims living in here. And I just thought, kind of perfect. I just love how this all came together. I think it looks fantastic. I even put a goldfish in here. Again, how realistic is that? I'm not sure, but I was thinking the other day, I was like, I have not used a goldfish bowl in the longest time, and I just really wanted to do that. So that's exactly what I did here. And then we just move on to the bathroom, and this is where I struggled so much with trying to make this look grimy. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment, when you can see me sort of adding all the stains on the wall and stuff. And that shower, I think, is classed as an off-the-grid shower as well. So that's super handy. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you're liking these videos that are a little bit more unique, then please let me know. Drop me some comments and ideas down below. But if you would like to download this camper van from the gallery, you can do so right now. My origin ID is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box just down below. You can get them for free from Sim File Share. But thank you so much once again, everyone, for joining me here today. You all take care, and I will see you again next time. Bye.